Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be looking at r/best of Redditor updates, and OP's fella seems to be up to something very odd, very odd indeed. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in listening to today, then stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. Okay, I have my coffee. I have the sun outside. The sun is outside. I don't want to talk too loud in case I scare the friggin' thing off. I can't believe it. It's very strange seeing that here in the UK. Very strange indeed. So I'm in a good mood is what I'm trying to say, and definitely in the mood for some best of Redditor updates. I love these. So let's get into it. This one is compiled by Direct Caterpillar 77 and it's titled I-27F Think My Boyfriend 29M Booby Trapped Our Apartment. I found something I don't know how to bring it up. I mean, that's a hell of a title now, isn't it? Booby Trapped the Apartment. Goodness me. Yeah, restraining order. Thank you, please. And the original OP is on the screen. I don't know where it was originally posted to. Soz. So the post was originally posted March 9th, 2018, and it says, "My boyfriend Alex and I have been together for 2 years, living together for less than 6 months. I would say that we have a fairly average relationship. We make each other really happy most of the time, but we do have our ups and downs, like every relationship, I'd say. I am honestly so conflicted in writing this because I feel a little insane even thinking about the possibility of him trying to hurt me intentionally. Oh dear. We've been fighting a lot lately because conflicting work schedules. I'm currently in my intern year of residency doing a night float month, so I'm at work from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. roughly. So for residency, I usually hear that term. Now, I believe we have something similar over here, but I don't believe it's called that. From what I understand, that's usually someone who's going into working in the medical field. Is that right? So yeah, I can imagine long hours, stressful work, just an all-around rough time. And I bet that does cause a little bit of conflict at home, to be fair, when you're both just on the ropes all the time like that. He works during the daytime, regular hours as a CS engineer, and we haven't spent a lot of quality time together in several weeks because of the lack of overlap. I'm going to work just as he's getting home and vice versa. Yeah, you are literally two ships in the wind, aren't you? Just passing each other by, like... I bet that would cause, in even a very good, stable relationship, some sort of tension. I have never had any issues with physical abuse from him. He raised his voice at me on more than one occasion, but he's always apologised, and it's been during very stressful times in our lives. His dad passed away last year. Our dog was killed in an accident on the street shortly thereafter. Oh my goodness, yeah, that would be very emotionally draining and I bet could cause a lot of rift as well. There is a lot going on here in this OP's personal life. Recently though, things have been happening in our apartment that makes me feel a little crazy. I've been getting hurt a lot and Alex keeps reminding me that I need to be more careful and not be so clumsy. But honestly, it feels like it's not me, but that things are being done, moved, placed. About 3 days ago, I came home from work and was preparing something to eat in the kitchen right after he left for work and I was getting ready to sleep. I opened up one of our kitchen cupboards and the heavy door flew off one of the hinges and smacked me in the head. I have a huge goose egg and a giant bruise near my hairline. Enough that several co-workers have asked me about what happened. I honestly think I had a very mild concussion from it, based on my symptoms this week. But here's the thing, as I tried to put the door back together, I couldn't find the hinge or 3 screws anywhere afterward. They should have been on the floor or the counter, and they weren't. Methinks someone's been tampering. Like, if Alex has been tampering with it though, that's next level psychotic, and I really hope that's not what is happening here. This morning, when I got home from work and as I was getting ready to go to bed, I opened up Alex's drawer to get a pair of socks to wear to bed. There were the screws and the hinge and a screwdriver. Oh, for God's sake, Alex. Why you gotta go and be a psychopath? Last week, I got up in the middle of my sleep schedule to use the bathroom and I slammed my shin into the edge of our bed. There is always enough room for me to shimmy by, but later on, when I looked at the bed and my leg, there were carpet marks like the bed had been shifted about 12 inches towards the wall, making my space smaller. I honestly feel insane even thinking about bringing this up to him, but I don't know what to do. TLDR, I feel like my apartment is booby-trapped, and maybe my boyfriend did it on purpose to hurt me, but I feel insane bringing it up. Honest to goodness, if this is the boyfriend, which I have a horrid feeling it is, what a vindictive little arsehole. Like, honestly, people who do stuff like that, they're too scared to just speak their mind, say I'm not happy, and we need to break up. Complete little fanny. Honest to God, I don't get people who do stuff like this. Why would you get enjoyment out of being such a vindictive little shit? I don't understand. It makes me angry because no one should ever feel unsafe in their own home. It's disgraceful. Like, our home is where we go to have sanctuary. Not to find that our little turd of a boyfriend has been booby-trapping the bloody place. And also, just to add, if he has been booby-trapping the place, which I really have a horrible feeling he has, you should be on a register if you're that kind of, like, psychopathic. Like, you need to be on a bloody register. Because I don't know if any of you watch a lot of true crime stuff and whatever. I used to. I had to stop because I gave myself a lot of anxiety. But I find things like that interesting, intriguing to see how, just messed up minds work, I suppose. And they always would start with little vindictive actions on animals, on other humans. And it would be small things that would be easy to ignore that would build into something far more disturbing. So this is a real red flag, is what I'm getting at here. Anyway, in the top comments of the original post, Unicorn Sporked says, judging in my 10 years with a narcissistic psycho, you're not crazy. Start writing these incidents down, take pictures, etc., and keep it all logged somewhere he doesn't have any access, your phone, in case it escalates. Having proof will mean a huge difference if you end up having to go to the cops. Yeah, 100%. If you ever think somebody's doing something like this to you, just take notes. It could be nothing, but if it is something, you're going to want the proof as far back as you can get it and as much of it as you can get, because the police don't like to take action quite often on things like this. They'll go, oh, it's a domestic matter. Oh, it's a civil matter. What the fuck are you paid for? Like, what? Why are you in this job if you don't want to help people who are clearly being tortured by their own partners in a sly, sneaky way? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, yeah, gather evidence. Black Rose says, also, taking picture records just for yourself will help you maintain your sanity. Upload them to a secure hidden cloud account your programmer boyfriend doesn't know about. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he's a programmer, so he probably gets into all her accounts quite often. If he's this weird to be doing stuff like this, I bet he's weird enough to be checking all of her stuff all the time. Frankly, he sounds like an effing psycho from what you've written here. I could never forgive someone for hurting me like that. Sure, he didn't punch you, but is it really that different? He wanted a giant heavy piece of wood to fall on your face. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to punch and kick and slap someone to abuse them. There are many ways that people think to do it, many disgracefully inventive ways. Sanguinaire12 says, there is no good reason for those hinges and screws to be in his underwear drawer, nor for moving the bed. Something is decidedly wrong here. It's time to pay attention. 2 incidents are bad enough. You don't want to suffer another. While he's not around, take advantage. Search, examine those things you use often for signs like these. Find anything which confirms your suspicions, bail on this relationship. Yeah, if I got to a point where I'm suspecting my fella is booby trapping the house, I am off. See you later. Actually, no. See you never. Bye-bye. Update March 18, 2018, 9 days later. Hello all, I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who messaged me with advice and input about my last post found here. Like the title states, I suspected my boyfriend was booby trapping our apartment for some unknown reason and gaslighting me. And I was right. Oh no. Oh no. Restraining order. 2 days after I posted, our shower head came loose and sprung off at me, smacked me in the back of the head, and due to the water pressure, I needed 8 stitches to close the wound. My goodness, this is psychotic. I texted my boyfriend about what had happened and that I needed to go into work for stitches. I'm a resident, and he was way too nonchalant. Okay, so she is in the medical field. That was going to annoy me, and I don't know why it was going to annoy me. Just because I wanted to know if I was like remembering right. Like, I don't know if anyone else gets that, where something will just kind of like bite at you like that until you figure it out. And it's always the most small and insignificant thing, but I'm like a dog with a bone and I've got to know. I wasn't going to ask him about the things that were happening. I was just going to move out before I ended up dead. Yeah. I mean, I fear that that is an actual legitimate risk right now. I made a plan on Thursday. I would have a friend come over as soon as Alex had left the apartment to help me pack my things and leave. I was worried about any potential cameras he may have hidden, so I flipped the breaker and turned off the power in the apartment. Oh my goodness, I love it. I love it. That's really smart, actually. Because, yeah, they have to be plugged into or wired in, don't they? For someone to be able to, like, receive the signal from somewhere else. Like, they'd have to work off of the Wi-Fi is what I'm trying to say. So that's really clever. About 3 hours into packing up, Alex came home. In the 6 months that we've lived together, he has never once come home for lunch. So there must have been a camera planted somewhere with an external power source. And honestly, that just tells you everything you need to know, doesn't it, really? He doesn't even pretend to waltz through the door. He bursts open and gets furious and asks what the F we're doing. Not sad, not confused, straight up angry. That was the only sign I needed. All I said was, I know about the cabinet and the bed and the dresser. You're watching me and my jewelry, and it's done. We're done. He responded with the standard, "You're effing insane, you're crazy, this is insane, etc, etc. Well, if it was insane, Alex, how the friggin' hell did you know to boss through the door like the Kool-Aid man when you were at work? Like, come on now, you just showed your cards." I yelled to my friend in the next room that she needed to call the police to come supervise while we finished packing. Alex decided to take this moment to call the police and claim that I was insane and stealing things from our apartment. He is an absolute just sandwich short of a picnic, isn't he? 2 uniformed police officers rolled up within what seemed like only a minute and came upstairs. I explained that I was moving out and there was abuse. I wasn't interested in pressing charges, but they needed to supervise and file a report for documentation. I ended up finishing packing and then spending nearly an hour down at the police station hashing everything out with the officer who arrived first. I mean, I understand why you wouldn't want to press charges because you just want rid of this absolute Fruit Loop, but I feel like pressing charges is definitely warranted. I took personal leave from work for the second half of the last week, and tomorrow is my first day back. I'm staying with a friend right now until I move in with another resident near our hospital in about 2 weeks. Overall, I'm really relieved to be out of the situation, but I'm generally still pretty afraid of Alex and anything he might try to do in the future. Out of an abundance of caution, I took both my iPhone, iPad, and laptop to the Apple Store and had them do hard resets, wipes, just in case he had planted anything. I'm not sure how I should be feeling right now, but I'm just going to say that for anyone out there questioning whether your situation is abusive or not, go with your gut and trust your friends and family. Yeah, definitely, because this guy He's been out there setting traps like a pharaoh building his friggin' pyramid. This is insane. Like, I genuinely personally think that OP should press charges because there was physical violence enacted on the OP in the most sadistic way. And this guy sounds just crazy. I wouldn't put it past him to become a stalker, to be quite fair. I really wouldn't. He sounds, oh my goodness, like, there's abusive partners, and then there's this. Like, this is another level. TLDR, my boyfriend booby-trapped our apartment and gaslit me. I moved out and I'm safe now. Do you know what this sounds like, actually? You know, You, the program, the series? It sounds like something that dude would do, does it not? It really does. And then down in the comments of the Best of Redditor Updates post, Broma312 says, like, she flips a breaker and he comes in immediately angry, then has the audacity to say that she is crazy. It's like, sir, what are you angry about then if the breaker didn't trip something? And then Amateur Biotic says, I was very impressed with her forethought to turn off the power. Yeah, me too. And then Dr. Ukuto says, doctors do require a certain level of brains most of the time. I mean, this is true. This is true. The OP is a doctor in training, is what I think a resident is. Is a resident a doctor in training? I'm unsure. I think maybe, but I'm unsure. But yeah, I mean, definitely showing that they absolutely have a good amount of brains there. Because do you know what? Embarrassingly, I don't think that I would have thought to trip the electric to kind of stop them from spying. I don't think I would have thought of that. Because to be quite honest with you, I don't tend to kind of think and expect that people would be insane enough to be spying on me in the first place. But to be fair, I have one ex in particular who I absolutely believe, if they had half the chance, would do something like that. For sure. Because they are absolutely narcissistic and need to know everything about all of their exes. They keep tabs on all of their exes. And I mean all. And it's so weird. Which is funny because I'm one of them people who has barely any social media presence and keeps very much to themselves. So I am very hard to keep tabs on. And I bet he probably doesn't like that. So yeah, if anyone was going to booby trap my house and try and like spy on me, he would be one for sure, for sure. But yeah, I really hope, being that this was posted in 2018, that the OP was okay, that Alex didn't decide to turn around and do something flipping insane. I mean, he's already done many things insane, but I hope he didn't turn around and do anything else. Like, I hope he didn't become a stalker. He definitely has the potential to become a stalker, for sure. But yeah, I just hope they're doing okay. Like, this was nuts. Honestly, this was something that Netflix would take and run with for a series. And before we wrap up this one today, I'll tell you a little bit of a story about a guy who I didn't even kiss the bloke, okay? We went on, well, we were friends already. We knew each other already. And we had like one little kind of like semi-date hangout thing. And he did something nuts. Absolutely nuts. So I'm going to tell you that story because I feel like we need to talk more, especially women. I know it happens to men too, but especially women who are statistically far more vulnerable to stalkers. We need to talk about when we have weirdos that do stuff like that. Out them. Now, this was, let me do the math, at least 9 years ago. And I knew this guy from when I had dated someone when I was like 15. So it wasn't like the person I dated back then was anything, really. It was one of those young love situations. He was an absolute Fruit Loop as well, might I add. I think I dated him for 3 years. And when I left him, by that point, I had moved out of my mum's because we were constantly having arguments, and I'd moved into a house share. He broke in through the foreign guy who lived in the house share. I can't remember what country he was from now, but he didn't speak a lick of English, barely, bless him. And he broke in through his window while the poor guy was in his bedroom to try and get to me. I was in the basement because I had a basement sort of thing, and I wasn't there. So luckily, by the time I got back, he'd left. But this guy that I went on a bit of a date with. I kind of would call it that, but it kind of wasn't. It was one of those things where no one really made mention of what it actually was, but it felt like a date. If you know what I mean, if you know, you know. So he was friends with that original guy I dated, and we kind of bumped into each other years later, and we're catching up, and I had my first kid at that point. They were at their dad's house. I had a weekend free, so they were like, hey, come out, we'll go do something. We ended up just driving around, and we went to his dad's yard of some sort where he had his business, I don't know. And he was like smoking there, and then we came back. I don't smoke, I don't really drink, I don't do a lot of stuff like that because I have anxiety. So, you know, when you're around someone who's doing stuff like that, it's kind of boring if you're not into it yourself and they're kind of like spaced out. So I came back to my house, literally sat there chatting. And then it was like, okay, it's time for you to go because I want to go to bed. So he went, like I say, didn't even hug the guy. I'm not a hugger. Don't touch me. I bite. So he left, and that was that. And I had then made up my mind from what I'd seen that night, from the amount that he had smoked, might I add, and he reckoned he did this every day. I was like, yeah, you are not for me at all. I don't want somebody who is a completely comatose every single evening, thank you. So I kind of just stopped messaging back. Anyway, I start getting gifts at my door. I opened my door one morning to get my food shop that was being delivered, and there was flowers. And the food shop guy was like, don't look at me, I didn't put them there. So I kind of gathered who they were from, and I ignored it. I think I put them straight in the bin, actually. And then I opened my door another day, and there was like chocolates. Now, I don't have a sweet tooth. This guy clearly did not know me as well as he thought he did. I do not have a sweet tooth. So I think they went in the bin as well. I was like, no, I'm not touching them. They could be laced with something. And then I moved. I'd actually been in the process of looking for a new place. So I moved, and I got a text from somebody who I know that lives close by. And they were like, oh, there's been a parcel delivered for you. Thinking I've not ordered anything. They said it's really big. I was like, I definitely haven't ordered anything really big. By the time I get this parcel, gets brought to me, it was, and I shit you not, a rifle case, like a box that you buy an air rifle in, because obviously guns just aren't buyable in this country. You can't just buy a gun. It was a rifle case, like the box with the picture of it on, the cardboard box with all the foam inside that it comes in. But instead of having the rifle inside it, which I was very glad it didn't have, instead, there was inside little bottles of champagne, bath stuff, chocolates, fluffy socks, and it was like cut into the foam to allow for them to fit instead of like the rifle. And I just remember thinking to myself, what in the absolute hell? Like, is this a vaguely veiled threat? Sending me chocolates and mini bottles of champagne in a box for a rifle? And that went in the bin too. But I just remember thinking, I am so glad I've moved, because I'd moved towns as well. I'd completely moved areas, and for the longest time, all I did was tell everyone I knew from anywhere near where I used to live, do not tell this person where I have moved to. If some bloke that looks like he can't see through staring because his eyes are like piss holes in the snow and bright red, if he comes round asking where I've gone, don't tell him. Keep it to yourself, because I'm not sure if I was threatened or not, or if it was just a legitimate gift. But I feel like that's something someone in a mafia film would do. So yeah, that's my little crazy dating something, not quite sure what that was, what the hell was that story. And on that incredibly awkward note, I think we're going to leave it there for today. If you enjoyed and listened along and got all the way to the end, well done. Thank you very much. I appreciate you very, very much. I'd appreciate you even more if you popped a little like and subscribe on here, and it'll help you find more videos where I'm probably rambling about absolute shite as well. I go off on tangents a lot. I'm not sure if you've noticed. But yeah, I hope you have a good day, whatever it is you're doing today. Goodbye. That coffee was hot. Oh my goodness, bastard. Recently though, things have been happening on fuck me. I can't talk. What is wrong with me? Last week I got up in the middle of my sleep schedule. I got up in my sleep schedule. I'm going insane. I made shut up, stomach. Did you hear that? That was my stomach. I'm not hungry. I'm just fucking greedy. I have just tipped coffee all down my front. Well done, me. Well done.